Hey guys, welcome back to Me Being Cheap. I am down in what I call the creepy cellar under my house. There's the floorboards from up above. And for those of you that are curious, that is spray foam insulation. I did have the bottom of the house sprayed. It definitely helped with the heating and cooling bills. So I'm going to talk to you about how we actually start our seedlings. And it's, do what works for you, but do something to grow something. I will tell you that starting the seeds and then planting what you start is going to be cheaper, but if you can't do that, go ahead and buy the plant starts from your local farmer's market or your local nursery or big box store. But basically, how we do it is we have a Rubbermaid tote, and we keep the potting soil in it. And then for anything like these that didn't make it, we just dump these plugs back in here. And again, I'm only doing this one-handed, so it's a little bit harder, but you guys get the picture. We just dump the ones that didn't make it back down into there. We'll crumble it up, and this is a tray that I'm going to fill. We're going to start some peppers here a little later on today, so I'm going to go ahead and get this tray filled. These trays, they are the perfect size for fitting on these seedling heat mats. These are rubber coated, but they do have heat, and they will cause your seeds to germinate. Once they germinate, you cannot actually move them off of the heat mat and just put them under a light. This one does happen to be a grow light, and I just have this suspended from the ceiling on chains. I've got a power strip up there because we keep them on a light or on a timer. There is a timer up there for the light, and we do that so that the light isn't shining on them 24/7. Now, as far as the others, I just took the lights that are from the ceiling, and they were on chains, and I just dropped them down lower and just keep them, on something that raises them up, whether it's, I've got some 5-gallon buckets that I had some large pots on, or this little plastic shelf. But these work fine. These work fine instead of going to the expense to buy special grow lights. You could just take your regular fluorescent lights and lower them down, or somehow get your plants closer to the light, and it'll work. And I have to tell you, in in this time period where there's a kind of a lack of some products, as you can see, some of these fixtures don't even have bulbs in them. I guess people are moving away from these, and I couldn't buy these individually. I actually had to buy a 10 case pack from Walmart the other day because this one over here, the bulbs were going out on, and I needed some new bulbs. So I guess I'm stocked up for a while because these bulbs will last forever. So anyway, getting ready to start some seeds. And again, you just fill your trays, and it works really easy if you just set the whole thing down in there and just put the little 6-pack down in there, fill it up, and then set them in the tray, and that'll work fine. The seeds, you need to plant them according to the directions on the back. So some of them you're just gonna put on the surface. Some of them you might put in like a 1/4 inch deep or so forth. But that's all there is to it. Plant according to the direction, and then you'll water. And I have found what works well for top watering in very precise locations are these little squirt bottles you can get from the Dollar Tree. I think they're probably designed for like your mustard and ketchup, but these work well. You can just come over here and say you just want to water a little bit. You can do that, and that works well. Okay, and then otherwise you can water from the bottom, and you could just pour the water in there directly, and the plants will soak it up. So that is time saving to do it that way. We were having to carry water down here because we don't have any piped water, and we were having to carry this heavy jug. And I do have you know, I've got my water heater here, but there's no faucet on it. And then I've got my whole house filter and my water softener. It is a mess down here, but there's no faucet. So what I did, put the dehumidifier up there with a garden hose and a rain barrel down here. So we have access to non-chlorinated water that we could water the plants with. Now for those of you that don't have access to this, you might consider setting a bucket outside to catch some rainwater from the gutter. If that doesn't work for you, get your water out of the faucet and then let it sit overnight, and the chlorine gas will evaporate. Municipalities will put chlorine in the water to keep bacteria and other things from growing. However, if you're trying to start seeds, you know, it kind of keeps them from growing too. The other thing that we do on occasion, especially if it's going to be a while before we can plant, we do like to give them a little bit of food. And we do this two ways. So I've got worm bins here. These are my red wigglers, and they're all hiding under the dirt right now. But there's some little holes in the bottom, which means that they leak the extra juice out. And so you can actually lift this up, and I don't know if you can see that there's some liquid. And we just use the little squirt bottle over there to suck some of that up and mix it with water. It gives the plants a drink from down below. We'll squirt the worm tea down in there, feed the plants from the roots. You can also get this commercial Super Thrive if you don't have any worm tea, but this does cost money, and that is free. So you don't have to feed them right away, but if it's going to be a while before you can plant, you'll definitely want to give them something to eat on, because this potting soil really doesn't have any of that in there. That's just a medium to get the seed going. So it is important to give them something to eat on if it's going to be a while before you plant. All right, that's how we do it. We just use the lights that are here in the cellar. We've got water from the dehumidifier because we got tired of hauling water down here. It's pretty heavy. And we do use these grow mats to get the seed to germinate. And other than that, keep it watered. And if you've got them going for a while, keep them fed. And the other thing with the lights, it's best to mimic the daylight hours, and you might turn the lights on and off so that they're not under the lights the whole time. Okay, that's how we do it. Thanks for watching.